Hi there. Today's Sunday, January 31st, 2021, and I'm here to do my daily video journal. Um, Today is Sunday, day of rest, also a day to go to church. I didn't go to church, physically, but I did actually spend my morning in church. Today I started out early. Thank God for different sermons being online. I actually took in a couple sermons today, and after that I did my prayer and went through my whole routine, and the sermons that I listened to actually inspired my reading today in the Bible. And then I went back and I read another chapter 4 of Crushing, and it was all about the difference between being pruned or being punished, and how pruning provides healing. And so I found that quite interesting. I ended up going and typically when I read the Bible, I've got a Bible app, and I start with whatever the chapter of the day or the verse of the day is, and I continue to read. So I think I started in Psalms today, and based on what was taught in the sermons, I decided to go and read the book of Daniel, which I got a lot of inspiration out of that as well. And so it was just a lot of good stuff. And whenever it is that you're learning something, or for me, when I'm listening, I'm trying to figure out, well, how do I apply this to my life? And, if I'm listening to somebody else's story, then I think about, have I been in the same type of situation? And what did I do in that situation? And try to figure out how I can actually learn and grow from there. So today, I really felt like I was really in a learning and growing mode. And so I thought I would share some of the lessons that I learned today. I think I shouldn't assume who knows what, right? But, I have always been a churchgoer, but I can't necessarily say that I have always really been one to study the Bible. Going to Sunday school was never really my thing. And so, although I believe that I have a strong faith and I have a strong belief system, I'm kind of excited to go deeper into actually really trying to study the Word and learn more, and really growing in my faith, and to be able to kind of compare my life and how I live it and things that I've been through to things that I actually read in the Bible. So today, when I was listening to the story, because we've always heard about David in the lion's den, or Job, and believing in and trusting in God and never losing faith in God, even though he's lost everything. Or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and how they got saved from the fiery furnace. And so I was reading those things today, and it really is, focusing on your belief and never letting anybody or any adversity turn you from what it is that you believe, but always having faith in God. But then, when it really focused on King Nebuchadnezzar, I thought that was really interesting too, because he was a guy, who had all this, he was a king, right? And so everybody looked to him, and he commanded this land, and whatever it is that he said went, and people had to abide by these things. And he always was very, I guess he held David in high regard, and he really appreciated the faith that that David had in God. And he ended up doing things that tested that faith and that actually tested the power of God. And I think in a lot of ways, he compared himself to God, like honor me, believe in me, put everybody else, or put nobody else before me. And so I found it interesting that, that there were times when King Nebuchadnezzar gave honor to the God of David, right? And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's God, right? Like, oh, hey, you've proven that this God is sovereign, that he is all powerful, he can do all things. And so he knew that, and he acknowledged it from time to time, but there were still times that he put himself up on a pedestal, and he really saw himself and everything that he had as he did it. It was his own accomplishment, and he deserved all the honor and all the praise. And, when he was troubled with these dreams, that, David came and told him about a dream that said, hey, this dream is about you, and if you don't repent and kind of give God honor and praise, you're going to lose everything that you have. And you don't have to lose everything that you have. You have an opportunity right here, right now, to kind of, turn away from your wicked ways, right, and give God the praise. And he didn't do it. And he ended up continuing to go forward, in the way that he always had been. And he ended up losing everything. And, I forget exactly where it was. I was reading it. And for, I guess it was like 7 years, he lost everything. But he lost his mind, And it wasn't until he got his mind right and he could see who God was, and he can give God honor and believe and acknowledge that everything that he had really came from God and was a gift from God, and that if he actually acknowledged that he can get all things back. And he ended up doing it. And so I thought that was very interesting. And when I thought about it more, it made me think about how my life and, looking back on my life and how I've lived it, and things that I've gone through, and the things that I've even learned in recent years, and what it is that I would want other people to know, and like especially my children. And so I ended up sending my kids, I've got 2 daughters, a note today, a text message, and I'm going to read it to you. But my older daughter came and said, oh, well, thank you for that, and what inspired it, and wow, you've really grown, and this is like, you're really at peace, and this is really a good look, and this is really a good thing, and I'm excited about it. And so that gave me joy and made me happy. So here, forgive me for looking down, but I do want to read it. But the biggest mistake I ever made in my life was focusing too much on material gain. Big job, big paycheck, big house, fancy cars. I was able to afford a lot, but became a slave to the job. And when I lost income or feared that I would lose income, my stress levels rose, and I fell victim to the things that kept me from having a peaceful, balanced, and happy life. I pray that you will both have peace and balance in your life, that you won't get caught up in material gain, living by other people's standards, or trying to impress other people. I have learned that you can have a rich life without having to sacrifice your happiness and your peace of mind. Enjoy the simple things in life. Use your God-given gifts and talents to reap the reward that comes from living your life according to your purpose. So that's my lesson in life. And it's a big one. I read these books, like I read T.D. Jakes' Destiny, and it talks about, all the things that you need to do in your quest for destiny. And I have to tell you, I don't know exactly where my destiny is, but I do think that I'm on the way there. I think, wherever it is, it's going to be a place of peace. And I know it's going to be a place of peace and joy. And it's going to be a place that I'm driven to based on having faith in God and trusting in His plan. There's just so much that I've experienced in my life that even sometimes I'm like, how did I get here? How did I do this? How did I accomplish this? And I don't think any of it would have been possible if it hadn't been for God on my side. So I just wanted to share that. The other things that we focused on today in this church service was to be disciplined and, kind of like live your life intentionally, be disciplined, pray, right? Prayer was a big one. Where there's much prayer, there's much power. Where there's little prayer, there's little power. Where there's no prayer, there's no power. So I definitely want to have lots of power in this life, and so I'm gonna pray. What did it say? It's harder to start something than it is to keep going. And so don't stop, don't lose the momentum that you have. And that struck a chord with me as well, because I made a commitment this year that there were going to be some things that I was going to do each and every day of this year. One of them is to be intentional about doing this video journal where I'm actually reflecting on what those intentions were and expressing how things are going, and thinking about what it is that I'm learning, the impact that these things that I'm doing is having on my life, and sharing those. And so I definitely want to be intentional about doing those, regardless of what anybody says, what anybody thinks, because there have always been people in my life that are like, you share too much, you're too open, not everybody needs to know this, that, and the other. But what I found is the more that I share, the better that I feel, and the more that I find that there are people that are listening that maybe need to hear some of what I'm sharing, or that appreciate me living out loud, or need some motivation and are somehow motivated by something that I've said or shared. So I definitely want to continue doing that, and I don't want to be discouraged by it. So I'm gonna continue to do that. So lost my train of thought for a second. So the intentions that I have, and maybe I'm even building upon them, are to do this video journal every day, to do yoga every day, to pray every day, to be thankful and grateful, and to start my day that way, because I want to live in positivity. I want to have a transformation of the mind, the spirit, and the body. And I believe that if I focus on positivity, if I focus on love, and sharing and giving back, and being the best that I can be, that there's nothing but good things that are going to come from that. And any goal that I set for myself will come to pass. And so I'm going to be true to that. And I'm going to share, and so I can also be held accountable to that. So I went to church 2 times today. I prayed, I read the Bible, I read a chapter from this crushing book. And I did yoga. I did 2 rounds of yoga today, and I took my time with it all. You know, I woke up in the morning, probably, you know, like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, which is when I started, and it is 3 o'clock now, and these are kind of the only things that I've done today, and I have had a truly fabulous day. So I'm going to continue to take it easy and to be intentional and to be positive and to just enjoy all of that and to see how much vibrance it brings into my life each and every day. But so far, so good. Anyway, that's the end of my little share. Hope you have a good day. Bye.